From Dar es Salaam, this is TBC News, our top stories tonight. Government and USAID applaud M-Mama system. Significant diplomatic move as Tanzania and China explore collaboration in energy sector. Good evening, I am Nasa Kingu. Just a reminder, you can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter pages at TBC Online. Vice President Dr. Philip Mpango directs IT experts of the life-saving maternal and newborn images transport system M-Mama to be vigilant of hackers who may affect the intended goal of the system, which is to improve maternal and newborn health care in Tanzania. The Vice President was in Arusha inspecting the performance of the system, which is implemented in collaboration with other development stakeholders, including the United States Agency for International Development.
Napenda kusisitiza kuendelea kuwa macho na udhibiti wa mfumo huo.
I'd like to emphasize the continued vigilance and control of the system so that it's not interfered or exposed to information crimes on the internet known as data theft. We must be careful and protect the resources. Also, for those who are concerned with the registration of expectant mothers, make sure you carry out this duty fluently. Also, continue to provide education to the people. I urge drivers to serve mothers and children with dignity, compassion, and love when they transport them.
On the other side, the USAID Administrator Samantha Power says her agency is delighted with the results of the system saving the lives of mothers and newborn babies.
We're having substantive discussions earlier today on M-Mama and a range of other aspects to the U.S.-Tanzanian partnership. Tanzania celebrated a milestone, which is that during our meeting, the 25,000th patient received M-Mama transport service.
Vice President Dr. Philip Mpango has furthermore urged the citizens to use the M-Mama system following the successful results that it has shown so far. Minister of Energy January Makamba says Tanzania and China have agreed to strengthen cooperation in the energy sector and natural gas. Makamba is in China for a business visit following the invitation of the China's Minister of Energy, Dr. Jianghua Zhang of the National Energy Administration.
Tumezungumza masuala kadhaa. Moja, kuongeza uwekezaji.
We've discussed several things, one being to increase investment in the energy sector between our countries, but also technical and technological support between Chinese and the Tanzanian institutions such as TANESCO, TPDC, REA, and EWURA. Also, we have discussed about large investments in the gas blocks in the deep sea, and we have spoken with the National Oil Company of China, which has shown interest in coming to find oil and gas into blocks in the deep sea. We have agreed that we will start official negotiation for that investment.
Furthermore, the Minister of Energy has met with the leadership of the China Africa Development Fund, who have shown interest in investing in the energy sector.
Tunakutana na kampuni kubwa kabisa ya taifa ya umeme ya China inaitwa State Grid.
We have met with the national electricity company China, known as State Grid, which is one of the largest companies in the world. And we have discussed about the cooperation with TANESCO in strengthening the national grid system through the use of technology in cybersecurity, also investment in infrastructure to transport and distribute electricity. It is well known that China is one of the countries that has made the great progress in energy, especially renewable energy. And we believe that Chinese experience and the capabilities in this area will be of help. We are like that during this visit, we entered into an agreement that we will formalize this before September to strengthen our cooperation.
The visit, which aims at strengthening bilateral ties, witnessed fruitful discussions between the two ministers on enhancing cooperation in the energy sector.
Tengeneza mitambo ni kampuni hapa China.
Dongfang is the company that manufactures the machines for the Julius Nyerere project here in China. And we have talked about the agents and perfection of the production of the machines. at the expected levels and quality. We have had a meeting with the chairman, operator of the company, and his team, and we have inspected the factory that manufactures the machines. And fortunately, 3 machines have been completed and are sent to Tanzania. There are still 60 plants that are in various stages of maintenance. This visit has been very successful, not only for the energy sector, but for our country as a whole.
Kwa hiyo ziara hii imekuwa na manufaa makubwa sana kwa tasnia yetu ya nishati, lakini kwa nchi yetu kwa ujumla.
Now from Beijing, we go all the way to Arusha region. The United States Agency for International Development, USAID, Administrator and Feed for Future Global Coordinator Samantha Power has announced $5 million equivalent to 12 billion Tanzanian shillings in the new funding to support Tanzania in becoming a fertilizer production hub, bolster production of wheat and sunflower seeds and build capacity for food processing. She made the announcement in Arusha region, insisting that the new investment in Tanzania is part of a broader $260 million surge in funding by the U.S. government to fight global hunger and food insecurity. Rehema Sababili has more details.
This new funding will be provided through Feed the Future, the U.S. government's global hunger initiative, to overcome the immediate food insecurity challenges and strengthen food system to withstand new shocks. Speaking in Arusha while visiting horticultural farms, Samantha says the additional resources will be invested strategically to align with Tanzania's ongoing efforts to combat food insecurity and to further Tanzania's ability to domestically manufacture, blend, and export traditional and organic fertilizers and biochar.
So we see the commitment that Tanzania's young people, Tanzanian female smallholder farmers, and the government are making to the agricultural sector. We also know that with COVID, supply chain challenges, global inflation exacerbated by Putin's invasion of Ukraine, and of course, again, climate change, that food security and food security resilience are increasingly important. And one of the things that USAID is supporting is the government's effort to potentially invest here in a fertilizer hub. Of course, President Samia has tripled agricultural investments just over the last year. USAID today is announcing an additional $5 million in support for Tanzanian food security. That will provide support to farmers to obtain access to seed technology, to training, especially to deal with changing weather patterns, climate change, as well as support to avoid food waste and to enhance storage. Today's $5 million announcement comes on top of $14 million that we have invested in the agricultural sector here in Tanzania just in the last 9 months.
On her part, the director of the Tanzania Horticultural Association, TAHA, Dr. Jacqueline Mkindi, said that there are goals set for themselves until 2030 to support farmers.
Sisi tuko mstari wa mbele. Tulikaa na serikali yetu.
We are at the forefront. We sat down with our government to make the 2030 agenda, and we have the targets we have set for ourselves. As a country, by 2030, we shall be exporting products worth $5 billion. We, as the horticulture sector, are fighting within these 2 years to export products worth $2 billion.
Tunapambana ndani ya miaka hii mitano ijayo tuweze kufikia dola za Kimarekani bilioni 2.
Since its inception, Feed the Future investment in Tanzania have helped lift 1.3 million people out of poverty and supported thousands of business to expand. Rehema Sebabili, TBC News.
Thank you very much, Rehema Sebabili, for that report. Energy sector stakeholders from 11 African countries gather for the International Roundtable Conference in Johannesburg, South Africa, to discuss, among other things, the role of natural gas to sustainable development. The event is organized by Gazprom in collaboration with the Africa Energy Chamber. The countries attending include Tanzania, South Africa, Algeria, Angola, Ghana, Egypt, Kenya, Morocco, Mozambique, Nigeria, and Equatorial Guinea. My colleague Faith Ngaga is there, and she has prepared the following report.
The use of natural gas is not only beneficial to the economy, but also to the health of the people. Representatives from 11 African countries have gathered here in Johannesburg, South Africa, to gain experience from the world leader of natural gas, Gazprom. NJ Ayuk, the chairman of the African Energy Chamber, says Africa has a huge potential in production of natural gas. He also cements on the idea of the energy sector having the potential to contribute to the elimination of the unemployment crisis in Africa.
Let's spend today thinking about solutions, thinking about ideas when we are faced with a global tsunami that says that we need to halt gas production. This could not be more critical at this time. An Africa that we believe that we need to improve it and drive it with industries. Unemployment is very high among young people, but it's not just about gas to power. It's not just about gas for electricity. It's for petrochemicals, urea, ammonia, NPK, fertilizer plants.
And here, Dimitri Kandoga, the head of the department at Gazprom, says in order to build a strong digital economy, we have to make sure that the energy sector is strong and resilient.
Digital economy, we need to be sure that the electricity and energy, the core and the basis for all economies, are reliable and secure. You need to know that in any time you will turn on the computer or industrial object and it will be working without interruption.
Konstantin Romanov, the head of division at Gazprom, says the use of natural gas is crucial to eliminating air pollution, which has significant negative effects. The 11 African countries that attended this conference here have shown a will to change the way energy is produced and consumed in their countries, and this will bring a positive impact to a large chunk of the population, that is women. Faida Ngaga, TBC News.
Thank you very much, Faida Ngaga from Johannesburg in South Africa. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, Dr. Stergomeni Tax, says that the official opening of the Tanzanian embassy in Indonesia will enable the government and Indonesia to strengthen diplomatic relations and trade. She made the remarks while inaugurating the Tanzanian embassy in Indonesia earlier today, thanking the Indonesian government for the cooperation extended to Tanzania.
Nimefungua ubalozi rasmi. Ubalozi huu umekuwepo tangu mwaka jana.
We have officially opened the embassy, which has been here since last year. Our colleagues are happy because they have had their embassy since 1964. So next year it will be 60 years. We have been cooperating, but with our embassy being here nearby and with this intention of pushing cooperation in the economic area, we will be able to go faster towards success. Our colleagues have come a long way, especially in the area where we are taking steps to ensure that our crops and minerals have added value. So this is also an area where we will work with them to see how we can benefit by adding more value to our products and get more profit through various markets.
Na sisi tunaweza kunufaika vipi kwa kuziongezea bidhaa zetu thamani zaidi na kupata faida zaidi katika masoko mbalimbali.
On the other hand, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia, Retno Marsudi, says Indonesia and Tanzania do have historical and strong relations established by the founders of the two countries, Julius Nyerere and President Sukarno, since the Badung meeting held in the city in 1955. The ceremony was attended by ambassadors and representatives of international organizations in Indonesia. Before the official opening of the Tanzanian embassy in Indonesia, Tanzania was represented by the Tanzanian embassy in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Federation of Miners Association of Tanzania, FEMATA, in collaboration with the Ministry of Minerals, the Ministry of Tourism and the Chinese Embassy has organized a trip for 260 miners to visit China to learn new mining technologies to explore Chinese markets as well. Here is a report prepared by Zuhura Ali, read by Emmanuel Samuel.
This was revealed in Dar es Salaam by the Vice President of the Federation of Miners Association of Tanzania, FEMATA, Alfred Luvanda, during the meeting that brought together the stakeholders of minerals sector from Tanzania and the other countries.
Leo hii tumekuwa na siku muhimu sana.
Today has been a very important day, and we expect to have meetings directly with Chinese businessmen, but we will also have the opportunity to show the minerals available in Tanzania.
On the other hand, the chairman of the Chinese business delegation, Dr. He Linghu, says the miners from Tanzania will have the opportunity to meet and have talks with the buyers of the minerals in China.
I think this trip is very important. It will create very close relationship between Chinese companies and Tanzanian companies, and also will help Tanzania mining industry to improve their machinery, their technology, and also the new business opportunity will be created.
The representative of the Tanzania embassy in China, Dr. Miraji Use, adds that the trip will also promote tourism sector and minerals resources available in the country.
Yeah, tourism sector is very important to our countries, and as you know, we are aiming to have 500 million by 2025. So our effort to promote Tanzania in Chinese market should be real, and we hope we can earn that number. And we advise those tourism stakeholders to be ready to service those tourists from China.
And now the COVID is over, and many tourists from China, they want to start seeing in the world. So Tanzania is a very good destination. So we want to work together with TTB and also Air Tanzania to have a direct flight from Tanzania to Hangzhou, so the tourists can easily come to Tanzania to spend their holidays here.
Among other things, the Vice President of Miners Association says the trip will be in July this year and will last for 10 days. Emmanuel Samuel, TBC News.
The head of cooperation at European Union delegation in Tanzania, Cedric Mirel, says European Union is committed to fund small-scale companies to enable them use modern technologies to expand their businesses. Here again, my colleague Emmanuel Samuel has more details.
The head of cooperation at European Union delegation in Tanzania made the assurance during the launching of the Business Guidelines Forum for managing the human capital organized by Capital Markets and Security Authority in collaboration with SIDO, Tanzania Startups, TSA, COSTECH, and other international stakeholders targeting small business owners and entrepreneurs.
It is good to see that the digitalization aspect of it is well captured. It means that we are looking not only at funding these small companies, but also at using modern technologies to make it possible. But also the network and how to interact with others is very important, because eventually we will grow together.
The Director of Research, Policy and Planning from the Capital Markets and Security Authority, CMSA, Alfred Mkombo, insisted that the introduction of guidelines governing the human capital for businessmen and entrepreneurs will enable the business community to improve their businesses.
These traders should first know the use of these platforms and use them properly, so they do not delay in their businesses.
Some small business owners who attended the workshop had an opportunity to elaborate how the move will change their businesses' dynamics.
Siku nyingi watu walikuwa wanatufuata wanataka kuwekeza katika real estate.
Many days people were following us to invest in real estate, but their capital is not enough. They need to come and join us. So when we have policies like this, it will help us to open the capital markets for our businesses.
Crowdfunding, like these are things that haven't been particularly much being practiced within Tanzania, and that's a big challenge. So having this session today, like we are trying to find out the best ways to put crowdfunding within Tanzania, and that's the most interesting part of it all.
I personally am very glad, and this is a welcome move in Tanzania. We applaud the CMSA for enacting or being in the process of enacting legislation that are going to facilitate crowdfunding in Tanzania.
The workshop is organized by Capital Markets Authority and guarantees in collaboration with Small Business Industries and Development Organization SIDO, Tanzania Startups TSA, COSTECH, and the other international stakeholders. Emmanuel Samuel, TBC News.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Samuel. Good news there for the small-scale companies in Tanzania. Preparations for the upcoming 47th Dar es Salaam International Trade Fair, which is expected to start from June 28th to July 13th, have reached 95%, with the expectation that the fair will be used as a platform to promote economic and business opportunities in Tanzania and around the world. Rehema Sebabili has witnessed the ongoing preparations at the grounds, and she has prepared the following report.
It is the famous International Trade Fair grounds known as Sabasaba. Construction preparations and cavings in the exhibition booth are ongoing. The director of the Tanzania Business Development Authority, Latifa Mohamed Hamis, says the upcoming exhibition with the slogan "Tanzania is the right place for investment and trade" is anticipated to increase trade.
The preparation now is ready at 90%, I can say, because a lot of big construction and basic function have already done. So we complete everything. The main preparation and construction now are taking place now, and we finalize miners' works now, which is going on through the different pavilions.
More than 16 countries with a total of 150 companies have confirmed their participation in the exhibition, while local companies number more than 1,500. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Rehema Sebabili, TBC News.
Thank you very much, Rehema Sebabili. Businessmen, including owners of hotels and factories at Mbezi Beach in Dar es Salaam, have congratulated the government through the Tanzania Petroleum Development Corporation, TPDC, for starting the process of connecting their business premises with natural gas. Here's a report prepared by Ezekiel Simbeye, read by Lolua Muhammad.
Speaking to journalists, the business owners say the connection will relieve them of high energy costs they used to incur by more than 40%.
This project will benefit us a lot in reducing costs because the price is very cheap, and it will also help us in terms of security because we will not have storage tanks in our hotel, and the gas will come out directly without any risk.
And in the future we are going to be costless also compared to LPG gas. Okay, we are waiting for going to get the supply, and it's good for us. Thank you so much at least for the government whatever we are providing the gas.
This is an unique application, basically converting a boiler which has been running so far with the furnace oil to gas connection.
The head of Relations and Communications Division of TPDC, Mary Mselem, says in addition the infrastructure connection to 6 hotels and 2 factories, other residents of the area can request for the service, which is said to be cheaper and safer to use.
Natural gas is much safer than other gases because if it accidentally leaks, it goes to the top to find a place to escape. Unlike other gases, it also helps with cleaning, unlike other energy sources like charcoal. The construction of this pipeline to supply gas from Mwenge to Mbezi Beach is on its way to residential areas. We have put together various versions that will be used to connect customers to their homes, factories or hotels.
TPDC continues to supply natural gas that is used in homes, industries, driving cars, making a significant contribution to the energy sector in Tanzania.
Good news there for the residents of Mbezi Beach, of course, including myself. Before we wind up our local news tonight, let us now have a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Don't miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Time now for all the latest in international news. And here is international news as compiled by Ramadan Impenta and read by Esero Mafuru.
Around 50 heads of states, along with the representatives from international institutions and civil society, are in France for a two-day summit to develop a new global financial system so the most vulnerable countries will be better equipped to combat both poverty and climate change. In his opening speech, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called the leaders to review the current global financial system, which he said is not suitable for the developing countries on economic development.
A moment for governments to come together, re-examine and reconfigure the global financial architecture for the 21st century. And earlier this month, as part of our preparations for the Summit of the Future, I put forward a policy brief, a detailed blueprint for a redesigned global financial architecture capable of serving as a safety net for all countries. But I have no illusions. This is a question of power and political will, and change will not happen overnight.
On his side, the French President Emmanuel Macron, who organized the summit, said the fight against poverty, efforts to curb global warming, and the protection of biodiversity are closely intertwined. He said they therefore need to agree together on the best means to address those challenges in the poor and emerging countries. President Emerson Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe has filed his papers to contest Zimbabwe's upcoming elections, insisting that the closely watched vote will be peaceful despite complaints of an opposition crackdown. Zimbabwe goes to the polls on August 23rd this year to elect a president and legislature. Speaking after lodging his application at a court in Harare, President Mnangagwa has said the process was good and is happy that Zimbabwe is now a mature democracy.
This process is so peaceful. This is what we want. It should continue now, during the process of campaigning, during the elections, post-election. This is the peace we want. Is a mature.
That was international news. Sports news up next. And in sports news, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Arts, Culture and Sports, Said Yakubu, says Tanzania will continue to cooperate with various countries in promoting its culture. Speaking at the Chinese Painting and Culture Festival in Dar es Salaam, Yakubu says it is important to learn the best ways to preserve countries' culture through other countries, while the Chinese ambassador to Tanzania, Cheng Mingjiang, says that cultural cooperation is pivotal to strengthen bilateral cooperation.
Duano tradition is important to Tanzania because we have come to learn the Chinese culture and how they preserve. And this is something of utmost importance to us. We have experienced tea making. We have experienced how to make sticky rice. We have also experienced painting in a Chinese traditional way.
The sharing of culture is very good for the common progress of the whole world. As a very good friend of Tanzania, we would like to share everything of us to our brothers and sisters here.
The Chinese Embassy in Tanzania has held a festival of paintings which includes showcasing various culture at its cultural center in Dar es Salaam, which was attended by ambassadors from various countries. And that's the sports news tonight, but you can also visit us on our website www.dbc.go.tz or our social media platform for all the latest in sports and other news updates. And now, before we wind up, it's time now to take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Hello viewers, welcome for the next 24 hours weather forecast from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. My name is Telezangasa. By starting with the wind flow pattern, wind is expected to flow with the speed of 40 km per hour from south over the northern coast and 40 km per hour from southeast over the southern coast. Over Lake Nyasa, wind is expected to flow with a speed of 30 km per hour from south. Over the southern part of Lake Tanganyika, wind is expected to flow with a speed of 30 km per hour from south. And over the northern part of Lake Tanganyika, wind is expected to flow with a speed of 30 km per hour from southwest. Over the Lake Victoria Basin, Wind is expected to flow with a speed of 20 km per hour from southeast. Also, TMA is issuing an advisory of period of strong winds, which are expected to reach 40 km per hour, and large waves, which are expected to reach 2 meters over the coast of Indian Ocean. Therefore, precautive measures are advised to be taken. And for tonight, it is an expectation that most part of the country is expected to feature partly cloudy condition with the lowest minimum temperature of 7 degrees Celsius over Mbeya region. For tomorrow, it is an expectation that areas of Kagera and Mara are expected to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over few areas. Over Kilimanjaro and the Arusha region, we expect it to have partly cloudy condition, right rain showers over few areas. The remaining part of the country for tomorrow is expected to feature partly cloudy condition. And now let's take a look on the 4 days weather forecast. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
And that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. On behalf of the whole team, I am Nasa Kingo. Good night.
Karibu kwenye mwendelezo wa kuwapata malaki onea wapya kila wakati kutoka hapa Cheza Pesa TBC1. Mimi naitwa Haja. Mabibi na mabwana, tuko hapa usiku wa leo kwa ajili ya kukupatia pesa wewe Mtanzania ambaye unatutazama.